Happy Tuesday, 5th period. Today is December 1st. What the heck? There is no bell ringer today, but this week we kind of have a busy schedule. So we have a transforming equations assignment and lesson today. And then on Thursday, there's going to be a review assignment and a take-home quiz. I have already posted the take-home quiz in Google Classroom if you want to do that right now or do it today, just because I know some people have other stuff to do, and this is due Friday at midnight, the take-home quizzes. And then Friday is like a kind of catch-up day, so we won't have actual class, but if you do come to my catch-up session, it'll just be a work day on missing stuff. So today we're going to do notes on transforming equations and then an assignment on transforming equations. So we have been working with slope-intercept form, and then before Thanksgiving break, I introduced standard form with that Edpuzzle video. So in the chat, can someone tell me what slope-intercept form is? And my computer froze. Okay, there we go. Here, I'll start it for you guys. It's y equals, and then you type the rest in the chat. Slope-intercept form, the one we've been using pretty much this whole chapter.
Y equals mx plus b.
Yes, good job, Javi. Thank you. So slope-intercept form, we have y, m is our slope, x, and then b is our y-intercept. Standard form, I don't think you guys have been introduced to enough, so I'm going to write it for you. It's ax plus by equals c. So we have our same x and y, and then a is the number in front of the x, b is the number in front of the y, and then the c is a constant. So what we're going to be doing today is taking equations in slope-intercept form, or taking equations in standard form and converting them to equations in slope-intercept form by moving the variables around. So if you remember in chapter 1, we kind of did that a little bit. We moved equations around, and so we're just going to be doing that again. So it's stuff we've already worked on, just kind of repeated. So here is my example. Can you guys see it okay? I know it's kind of zoomed in, but I just want to make sure you guys can see it.
Yeah.
Okay, so my goal is to isolate y. What isolate means is to get it by itself. So to make it into slope-intercept form, the y is by itself on the left side and everything else is on the right side. So all I'm going to do is take this equation right here and move it around so that I have y on the left side and everything else on the right side. So step 1 is to isolate the y term. So this is the term. Using inverse operations to move 4x to the other side of the equation. So 4x has a positive sign in front of it. We just don't write it. But in order to move it, I'm going to subtract 4x. We've done this before. You move the whole thing, and in order, what I do to one side of the equation, I must do to the other side. These 4x's cancel, and I'm left with 3y equals 9 minus 4x. So that was step 1. Check. Step 2, use inverse operations to isolate the y term. So right now my y term has a 3 in front of it, and I want to get it just y by itself. So the 3 is being multiplied by the y, so I'm going to divide to cancel out the multiplication. So I'm going to divide by 3. What I do to one side of the equation, I must do to the other. So these 3's cancel. I'm left with y. 9 divided by 3 is 3. And then 4 divided by 3 gives me a decimal, so I'm going to leave it in fraction form because I don't like to deal with decimals if I don't have to. So I'm going to leave it as negative 4 divided by 3x because the x and the 3 can't be divided, so it just stays the same. So step 3 was to simplify, which I already did, and then rewrite it. So slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So I'm just going to flip it around so that my x is first. So all I did was move this over here and then put a plus sign in front of the 3. So that's what we're doing today, is rewriting equations that are in standard form into slope-intercept form. And all we're doing is getting the y on the left side and everything else on the right side. So that way it's easier sometimes to solve an equation or graph it if it's in slope-intercept form. So next, I'm going to do one more example, and then I'm going to have you guys practice one, and we'll see if you guys are getting the hang of it or if you need more examples. So step 1 is to isolate the y term. Using inverse operations. I'm just going to be messy. Okay, so I have 10x minus 5y equals 15. So what is my first step going to be? Isolating the y term. How am I going to move this 10x to the other side of the equation?
Subtract down both sides.
Yes, so I'm going to subtract 10x from both sides of my equation because what I do to one side of my equation, I must do to the other. So these 10s cancel, and I'm left with minus 5y equals 15 minus 10x. Okay, so step 1 is done. Check. Step 2 is to isolate y. So right now it's combined with the 5, so I want to get just y by itself. So it's being multiplied, so how am I going to get rid of the negative 5?
Divide by negative 5 on both sides.
Yes, so I'm going to divide by negative 5 to get rid of the negative 5. I could just divide by 5, but I like to take the negative sign with it because I'm going to have to, you want your y to be positive, so that way it just gets rid of it in one step rather than having to do 2 steps. So I'm going to take my negative and my 5, and I'm going to divide both sides by that. Step 3, simplify and rewrite. So I isolated the y, now I'm going to simplify. So these negative 5s cancel and I'm left with y. 15 divided by negative 5 is what?
3.
Negative 3.
Negative 3.
So 15 divided by negative 5 gives me negative 3, and then negative 10 divided by negative 10x divided by negative 5 is what?
2.
2x, yep. So I have my equation, but it's not in slope-intercept form, so I simplified, but now I'm going to rewrite it. So I have y equals 2x minus 3. So I kept everything the same, I just flipped the 2x and the 3 so that the x was in front. So does anyone need me to go over any of these steps that I just did, or do we kind of have a feeling that it's making a little bit of sense? Just let me know if you need me to do another step again. Okay, so I want you guys to practice this one by yourself. So 6y minus 3x equals 24. Try and get it into a y equals form. And then type your answer in the chat. I'm going to put 3 minutes on the timer for you guys to complete it. All right, 5 seconds is what's left on the timer. So if you have an answer, put it in the chat. If not, I'm gonna solve this to show you guys. Okay, so first step to get at y on the left side and everything else on the right side. So I'm going to add 3x to both sides so that my y is on one side and everything else is on the other. I add it to both sides because what I do to one side of the equation, I must do to the other. These x's cancel and I'm left with 6y on the left and 24 plus 3x on the right. Now I have a 6 attached to my y and I need y completely by itself. So I'm going to divide by 6 because the 6 is being multiplied by the y. So division cancels out the multiplication. What I do to one side, I must do to the other. These 6's cancel and I'm left with y equals 24 divided by 6 gives me 4. And 3 divided by 6 I'm going to put as 3 over 6x. But I can simplify this 3 over 6. We know that 3 over 6, 3 goes into both of them. So I get 1/2. So I have y equals 4 plus 1/2 x. And then I want to rewrite it as mx plus b. So 1/2 x plus b. Did you guys get something similar to that, or were you completely lost and confused?
I got something similar
Okay.
to that, but I messed up on the simplifying.
That's okay. As long as you have the general idea of moving things around, that's all I'm really looking for. Okay, so there's one more example here. I'm going to go over it again just because I know that the more you see something, the more it helps. So, but I'm going to ask you guys what to do. So what am I going to do first?
Subtract 6 on both sides.
Yes, 6x, because I'm moving the whole term because I want y on one side and everything else on the other side. So these 6x's cancel and I'm left with 4y equals 4 minus 6x, because I can't combine these because the 4 doesn't have an x and the 6 has an x and I can't combine it with a number. So now I have 4y equals 4 minus 6x. What's my next step?
Divide 4 on both sides.
So I'm going to divide both sides by 4 to get the y completely isolated by itself. So those 4's cancel and I'm left with y equals 4 divided by 4 is what?
1.
And then I have 6 over 4, so I'm going to leave that like that and then simplify my fraction. You can leave it like this, but we like to put everything in simplest form. So 6 over 4, I know that 2 goes into both of those numbers because they're even. So 6 divided by 2 gives me 3, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So I have y equals 1 minus 3 over 2x. And then I'm just going to flip my terms so that it's y equals mx plus b. Okay, so that is what today's assignment is. Let me upload or post the assignment. And then, there we go. Let me open it up. Okay, so it's on Google Slides. And it looks like this. So there's all these colorful boxes on the side. So what you're going to do is you're going to kind of follow it like a little maze. So you follow the arrows. So our first one is convert to slope-intercept form, x plus y equals 3. So slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to move my x. So I'm going to subtract it, and I'll have y equals 3 minus x. So then I'm going to come over here and look at all of these little boxes. I'm going to zoom in. And I want to find 3 minus x. So this one is x minus 3. I want 3 minus x, which is this one. So then I'm going to take it and drag it up here to this box. And now it says convert to slope-intercept form 2x plus y. So now I'm going to move 2x plus y around to get it in slope-intercept form. Pick the box and put it in this one right here because I'm following the arrow. Whoops. So it's 14. Whoa, I don't know what just happened to it. There we go. It's just 14 little problems for you to do. And I would suggest having paper and pencil. It will make it much easier. So you have the rest of the class to work on that. And then, yeah.